What is up, guys? This is Alex from First Figures.
Hey there, everyone, this is Chuckles.
Who do we have here?
Crash Bandicoot! Crash!
We've been waiting to do that for quite a long time.
We've been practicing for
ever since those
months
memes.
and months, yes. We love those memes.
Absolutely. So here we are, Chocked, the very first in our classic Crash Resin line of Crash Bandicoot figures.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it's not the first of the Crashes that we've ever produced. The first one, of course, if you can remember, is the PVC Crash from the Insane Trilogy.
Yep.
And the second was the life-size Aku Aku mask from the replica line.
Exactly.
But this is the first of an all-new range of classic Crash resins, and it's so awesome that we're finally here. It's probably been about a year in development,
Right.
something like that. And yeah, I think we announced the Crash or the Activision license around about April time, April, May of last year.
So everything was kind of like working at the same
Right,
time. Yeah,
right,
because we
right,
had to make sure the PVC goes out first.
Yes,
Yeah.
and actually I can remember that we were actually working on both this and the life-size Aku Aku mask at the same time, and ultimately we went with the Aku Aku mask as the next one. So actually this has been waiting to actually go for pre-order for quite a while. So we're really excited to finally be able to be here right now. So here you go, Chalks. What do you think? I mean, he's got a nice size to him, Chalks.
Yeah, definitely. Pops. I mean, from the PVC and the Aku Aku mask up until this launch, there's been tons and tons of questions with regards to Crash Resin. How's it look? How's it compare to other characters? And here we are.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll go through that through this documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a great journey, and there's a lot of different design choices, and this was actually pretty tough to actually make. And when we go more into more detail, you sort of talk about the differences and the difficulties and all the sort of stuff that we had there. So guys, if this is the first time you've watched one of these documentaries, Chocks, do you want to say?
Thanks for tuning in. This is our documentary series, the making of documentaries on YouTube. And basically every single time we do a launch in our collectors club, First Figures official collectors club on Facebook, we will create a post in there asking you guys if you have any questions with regards to the current launch. We will go through some of the questions in this documentary, and also there will be some shout outs later on in the video as well. So if you have any questions, make sure you do join our club and ask us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Chocks, well, why don't we use that to start the conversation?
Yeah, sure. Well, just before we begin, I mean, I'm very excited with this one because it's a mascot on a PlayStation platform.
Right.
Yeah, and if you're a PlayStation gamer, you know straight away that Crash is the mascot, right?
If you are of a certain age.
Yes.
We'll call it the the PlayStation 1
Well, this is
era.
why this is the OG Crash.
Well, there
and
you
the
go.
PVC is the remastered version.
It is.
Yeah, so
It is.
A Crash for everyone.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, then let's jump straight to the questions.
All right, sweet.
First one from Tom Baker. He says, "Yes, Crash. Which game have you taken the most inspiration from for the piece, or was it a mixture of 1 to 3?
Well, the Crash franchise, you can see it's definitely been sort of segmented by developer. And the original one, of course, was Naughty Dog era, sort of 96 to the end of basically the 90s era, and then moved on to various other people, Telltale Games, Vicarious Visions, and moving forwards to other people as well.
Yep.
And it's been very interesting to see that they're very distinctive, the eras. So we'll call it the PlayStation 1 era, the PlayStation 2 era, etc., right? So we wanted, so when Tom says a mixture of 1 to 3, well, he's talking about the Naughty Dog era and the original classic Crash 1, 2, and 3. Of course, they were all on the PlayStation 1, and it was, definitely a mixture between the three. We consider this to be classic Crash, and well, you could say it's from the first one. The other ones have been defined, like 2 and 3, being more defined more about what he's doing, wearing, what's he do. For example, there are different mechanics for the second and the third games. So when you look at this one, if you're going to say it's one of them, of course you will say it's the first one, because he is the character himself. He's it's just him. No gimmicks. purely him, and therefore this is classic Crash. You'll say it's from 1. But if you look at the actual design from 1, 2, and 3, they're all this sort of style. And we took inspiration from
each one, because there's always going to be some subtle changes with each platform, each game in the series,
right?
Because of graphical limitations, always improve.
Right. So this is actually where we started looking at the artwork itself and using the artwork of the box artwork to really kind of work on the overall look and the feel of him. Should we give him a bit of a spin?
I was going to say, I'm going to let you finish that question.
All right, sweet. Yeah, so we've got him spinning around on that. Lovely.
All right, next question?
Yeah.
All right, from James Bennington. Going into Crash, did you have a definite plan, or was there a few bumps on the way?
You know, this, without a doubt, was an incredibly tough project. And it was because there were so many different, as we talked a little bit before, little eras. When we say we have the Crash Bandicoot license, it goes beyond that. Sometimes you can say certain licenses, and you say you have a whatever the license is, and there's only one sort of version of it, of that character, and all the games, they all look the same, as an example, right? Whereas this really is like an era, a sort of group of games. But when you say Crash, you have to go and define it a little bit more. Do you mean Crash from this era? Do you mean this version, that version? It's almost like Zelda. You'll say, okay, you have the Zelda license. Which kind of link are you making? Is it from this version? It's the same thing for Crash. He's got such a long history, Chucks. We're talking over 20 years. And with that, there are something over like 10 plus games in that. You know, of course, if you throw in the Game Boy Advanced games,
the racing game.
Right. You know, there's so many in the franchise that you have to really consider when you're making a Crash figure. What exactly are you going to define that as? And of course, when we first started, it was a little bit hazy, and then we had to sort of navigate through all the research and then come up with this final design. And of course, here we are. It was. When you say it was definite, when we said we're going to make a Crash one, sometimes you know exactly what you're going to make before doing any research.
Well, we had a definite plan, because we basically concentrated the PVC for the remastered version, and we knew we had to do a classic version because...
Right, but what's classic to you and what's classic to me can be different.
But the good thing is that you say it's a tough project. This project itself was very active with the group members in the club.
Are you jumping ahead, or
I haven't read the questions. I'm just saying, all right, then we'll leave that to later on.
All I can say is, continue along those lines. If you start going off track, I'll just go, whoa!
If I jump the questions, you let me know.
Whoa! So, yeah, absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next question, but there was a lot of conversation about just that.
Tons of that. But what bumps were there on the way?
Well, you know,
apart from, you know,
well, it was the whole idea of not going into a license and just thinking it will be easy, not actually realizing, you know what, it's a lot more complicated than I thought. So that was the bump in the road. I had a definite plan, of course. It was to do the original styles. When I say the original, everything was open to interpretation. I would have said PlayStation 1 and 2, right? Those were the sort of areas that I was looking at. And then it was trying to understand what is more popular, classic versus PlayStation 2 era, you know, all these sort of things. And ultimately, we had to do a lot more research. So yeah, I mean, we had a plan, but it changed a lot. And I'm not just talking about the design and the concept, but the whole, I'm not talking about the sculpting work, I'm talking about the concept itself. It was really quite tough to navigate that and get that right. And ultimately, here we are, classic, starting with the OG from the very first one. And you know, that's where we're at. Because if you think about something like the Link from Zelda, you know, just for example, we started all of our links with the Ocarina of Time one. We didn't go with the original version, as an example. But here we are with the very first Crash. So yeah, it's very interesting. It was very... really enjoyed the process of figuring it out, but it was definitely not an easy one. All right.
Not an easy one, but it was a fun one.
Oh, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh my God. Next question from Adrian Hernandez Garcia. What did you learn from the making process of Crash with the collaboration of the F4F community? Do you feel proud of that and the given results?
So there you go.
All right.
Therefore, if we think about this, let's do a bit of a retrospective and let's review what actually happened with this. When we started the original design was actually more like Twinsanity version of Crash, which is more the PS2 era. And this is something that I want to really stress. This is almost like a crowd-funded is not the word, but crowd suggested piece, and this is the results of it, and I'm super pleased with it. Now, it was a long and difficult road, but it was a really great example of the power of the F4F Collectors Club on Facebook, and it really is highlighting just how important they are in the creative process, in the design process. Look, I've made many figures in my time, and the ones that really make me struggle with are the ones where there's nothing definite, where your version of a character and my version of a character can be completely different. When you see polygons and you see something different, when there's no right or wrong answer, and that's the difficulty. So if we can go over some of the things, if we look at Snake from Metal Gear Solid,
sure.
If we look at, let's see, let's say for example some of the links from the earlier versions, so say Ocarina of Time, etc., etc. If we think of anything where it is open to interpretation, a classic Crash is a really good example where it's polygonal, lots of polygons and very low resolution. So those sort of games where there isn't anything that's completely clear of what we're going for makes it really tough. And that's another example of Crash. But if you add on top of that the fact that we had to navigate between Crash sort of PS1 era versus PS2 era, there's even more complications in that. And all that sort of stuff really lent to a lot of grey areas, and it really was a fantastic communication with the Collectors Club to see what they wanted to do and how they wanted to tweak it. And Jocks, you can remember, we started with a certain face, and it was, what do you guys think about this? Like, oh my god, the audacity! How?
The nose, the face, the eyebrows. It's the iconic stuff. The eyebrows, the eyebrows themselves.
So I totally took that feedback and I go, okay, I get that. Then we made a after version, and then it said, okay, guys, this was the before and here was the after. Which one do you think you like more? And it's like before or after, and generally it was after, and then they would come back with more comments, and it was a refining process, maybe 3, 4, 5 times.
More than that. It went crazy. It went crazy, like 7, 8, 9 times or something like that. It was a very high number because a lot of people were saying, can we have a look at it from this angle or that angle? How come the snout, right? I believe it's the snout, the nose is very long or very short. Can you make the ears more inwards, outwards?
It was definitely a challenge, but really excited that we got to this point. And I could say, working with Angard, he was the 3D modeler on this. Very patient.
And obviously, it's like different era, like PlayStation 1, PS1. You can see there was not many hair. There was no hair during because of the polygons. And then obviously a lot of people knew what the remastered version looked like, with obviously much more hair, and it was trying to find the right balance, hair wise. Yeah, so that's quite fun.
So the community was really instrumental in coming back and helping to shape this, and so grateful for that. And ultimately, there's the expression where too many cooks spoil the broth, but this was not the case, and definitely the challenge was actually trying to go through all the feedback because there was so much of it, and which was great, and then use that and try to be the spokesperson to actually be the thing that kind of changes it into the updated version, and try to sift through all of that.
I think with this one, it's like a lot of people knew what they want in the mind. It's trying to get everyone together and say, this looks really good.
For example, it's not right, but I don't know what it is. It's off. But I'm not sure what it is.
We know
that's tough.
What I'm going to say now is kind of going to lead on to the next bit. It's like playing around with the eyes.
Yeah.
We all know, like, Crash has like crazy eyes, right? And then we're trying to find the right
Whoa!
place, the right position,
Whoa!
right?
You jumped ahead there,
I
man.
did, right? I'm sorry, but I need to fit that in before we jump ahead, before we show something.
Well, I was going to be talking about that a little bit later on, but I think that's the perfect time to do it. So
and also, can I?
No. I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to roll that. Yeah, I see. So, yeah, okay. So, why don't we just pause this right over here, Charles?
Right, okay.
Now, my crash...
First of all...
Yeah.
Okay. No. I think I just saw the next question, so I'll let you carry on first.
Right, so what you talked a little bit about is... Well, what I said from the beginning, it was about my crash and your crash being different. And... one of the things that had come up quite a lot when we were doing the refining of the face was how to do his eyes. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, his eyes are his eyes, and the position of the eyes and the sort of size of the eyes is not subject to debate. It's not whether or not his eyes should be bigger or smaller. All of that sort of stuff is not a question of aesthetics and personal choice. It is the character itself. What is a personal choice is, what does your crash look like? Now, this crash that we're looking at is a very, very specific style where he is looking directly into the camera, and I wanted to have him looking directly into the camera there. His eyes are looking directly into the camera. Well, we had mocked up another version, and through the power of editing, thanks to Jeffrey, in 3, 2, 1, whoa! Now you can see he's got crazy eyes. Chuck, give me your best crazy eyes.
There you go. Boss eyes. Boss eyes.
I like.
Hit me up, Activision. I could be the next Crash.
Love it. So here you can see he has crazy looking eyes now. Now, that was because I could see a voice coming out from people. There's a voice of a bunch of collectors that were saying that they liked crazy eyes over the regular eyes. Now, that was quite interesting to me, Chocks, where we went down that path, and I never expected this, that we'll be in a scenario where some people like normal looking eyes and some people like these crazy looking eyes. So, you know what? There was a huge debate back and forth. Oh, my crash has got crazy eyes and my crash has normal looking eyes. But the answer is, Chocks, is there's no real answer. There's no correct answer to that.
It's part of his character as well.
Right, but it's also an aesthetics thing.
Sure.
Because you have to go with one or the other. You can't go with both. So, or can you not? Well, the answer is, well, I have to think about the engineering to make it so that why make people choose? So here you go, guys. What we just showed you was in the cutting, of course, was the fact that he has crazy eyes. These are the original eyes that you just saw when he's looking at you sort of like that. They're looking at you normally. And
on your black shirt,
yeah,
it's much easier. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Right? So
Like
he's looking at you.
F4F has some eyes above it. There you go.
First prize, yeah.
First prize.
So having these eyes looking directly into the camera was some people's preferences, and some others are to go for these crazy, because it matches his personality, doesn't it, Chocks? So all of these figures will come with these eyes, which is the crazy looking eyes, and it comes with these.
Yes. So the regular version will come with both sets of eyes. So if you're feeling in a crazy mood.
Wow, how do you feel this week? How do you feel today?
Yes.
Why don't you reflect that in a physical product with Crash as well? So as you can see here, he has the crazy eyes. Just give him a bit of a turn with that. Jocks, which one would you display your Crash with?
Which one? I'll go for the crazy eyes. I like it. I'm crazy sometimes.
Do I make you crazy?
I'm gonna leave that out for another. Whoa! Right.
So the amazing thing was, Jocks, it didn't just actually end there. This whole feedback back and forth with regards to the eyes and the face, all that sort of stuff, really led for us to keep thinking about how can we do it in a way that this piece can be more universal, be the universal crash for everyone? How do we do it where some people like a certain style and others don't like a certain style? And of course, as we said with the eyes, we see it over here. So we obviously have these crazy eyes, as we talked about that over there. The fact that we have it with these different eyes over here. So, but another thing that came out of that, Jocks, would you believe, it wasn't just the eyes.
The discussions, right?
The discussion wasn't just the eyes. And well, we don't need to cut this one, but here you go, Chocks. In 3, 2, 1, boom! It's all about that tongue, Chocks. Do you like a bit of tongue, or do you not like a bit of tongue?
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes. So we have used these, basically there's a magnet in here that allows you to just simply...
just pop that in there.
I couldn't even find it, but there you go.
Yeah, just pop that. Oh, no.
Is it in the wrong place?
Yeah, it's the wrong side. Like so.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
See, it's more, adding that tongue sticking out blends in with the crazy eyes. And
it does.
But the reason why there's a tongue in there is because a lot of fan feedback. And if you play the original game, the original PlayStation 1 game, you can see that from the idle animation, you don't really see Crash's tongue in the PlayStation 1 game. But later on, he sticks his tongue out, for example, in the remastered version.
Right.
And a lot of fans want to, again, it's very similar to the eyes. My Crash is crazy, so he sticks his tongue out, or I like my Crash normal without the tongue. So for the regular version, we're given the option of both. You can choose whichever option. You can mix and match. Even the eyes you can mix and match.
Exactly. So I just wanted to sort of rotate and show a bit more of that tongue from the other angle. And the point being, of course, why choose? Why should we alienate half of the people that like crazy eyes? Yeah. And so if everything was going to be normal, I was going to go completely crazy eyes and tongue. Now the tongue actually came out about because we're taking a classic character and updating it in the physical form. And some of the things in there, some of the sculpt things, we'll talk a bit about that a little bit later on, but one of the things was the tongue, and it's almost like a normal extension. We're having worked on the Insane Trilogy PVC, it had a tongue. It also made sense for this to also have a tongue as well. So if it was left to my device, this could have been the one and only version. No option to change the eyes, no option to take out the tongue. This would have been it. Now, a lot of people would have been very happy with that. That's exactly how they will display their character. But there will be a lot of others that would have gone, you know what? I prefer the normal eyes without a tongue. Or I prefer the normal eyes with the tongue. Or I prefer the crazy eyes but no tongue. Every single combination of that is absolutely covered. So engineering wise, I never expected to go down this route to have this conversation, and here we are, and it's amazing what is coming out from the community and how it leads for us to make massive design changes, or in this case, enhancements. There is no how should I say, there's no disadvantage to having all those different choices.
Right. There's only one negative that I see about that is the fake crash. If you want us to make a fake Crash, leave us a comment down.
Well, he's got like crazy eyebrows and stuff like that.
He's got an entirely crazy face. So,
yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, that's taking it.
And those
extreme.
funny teeth as well.
Yeah. But that would be quite interesting. But yeah, like I said, some people like the original Crash, some people like some of the more expressive Crash. And luckily we were able to achieve that with this engineering, with the tongue and the eyes.
Yeah.
I think it turned out really well.
Yeah. All right, Chocs, I want to pause the conversations here and really talk a bit about the details. All right, should we go...
Are we next question?
Oh, yeah, okay. Why don't you go with... Yeah, why don't we go...
Shall we? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, why don't we keep going for the next two and then... Yeah, actually, let's go through that, all the questions, and then we'll talk about the about some of the things.
Yeah, because I think it's quite good. Yeah. All right. Next question from Joe Patterson. What was the inspiration behind the pose for Crash?
Well, that was really easy, Chocs. That was me one day writing a message on the Collectors Club, and I simply said, "Pose, Crash. What do you want to see?"
As you gamers know, there's tons and tons of idle animation in the game. Like it could be one of those it's just like animations, right? And
Yeah.
you know, this is definitely one of the iconic poses. You know what pose this is?
It's from the Victory Dance,
That's right.
for those who've never played Crash before, but if you have played, you should know that. And it's the very, very last thing where he does his dancing, and,
Yeah, it's like
and all I can say that I'm really grateful that nobody in the comment wrote, do the dance.
right. Okay.
Otherwise, which is good. Although I can see you've already practiced it.
Yeah, it's funny. I love it. I love that animation.
And this is at the very, very end, and it's like he turns his body.
Yeah.
He turns his
Sharp
body.
turn.
He turns his body, does a
Yeah.
sharp turn. He has a really, really big rotation on his body. So what's quite interesting is his body is facing towards me, actually. It's facing this direction, his legs
Yeah.
and his sort of body. There's a huge rotation in the stomach that turns his whole body around. So actually he's looking over his shoulder, and exactly how he does it in the animation as well.
I can see everyone asking, why not add a turntable underneath it so you can automatically just make him turn.
Sure, why not?
At full speed.
All I can say is that if someone had written that in the club when we were doing this, maybe that could have been a design thing, but you guys didn't.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys. And what I would say is that when he does that turning, what I really like about this is, of course, when I see him, I also see he's presenting one of these making of documentaries. He's like,
Ta-da! Yeah, that's true. Yeah. One on either side of me, like,
that would be awesome if we could. Hey, Jeffrey, try and animate. No, I don't want. So that would be. So that was the inspiration for the pose.
Right. Next question from Alessio Bucci. How did you choose the bass? Is the bass we see now the first and only idea you had, or are there any other in development?
Well, that's a great question. I think this is actually a great time to actually start going through a bit more of the sculpting details and some of those things. So why don't we sort of start from the top and then we come down to the bottom there, we can have more of a conversation about Alessio's question.
Okay.
All right?
Right, let's start off with the hair then. Okay.
Yeah, let's start with the hair.
Look at that. It's very fine. There's lots of fine lines along the spikes along the back as well.
So it's not just one.
It's not just one.
It's not just one sort of spike at all, is it?
How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pieces there.
Yeah.
Yep. So again, much more. I think probably the most detailed part is the hair, because obviously it's very fine. And then obviously we're moving along to the eyebrows. Can't forget those. There's textures on the front and the back of the eyebrows. These are 3D. And they're attached to the eyes.
So what we wanted to do is actually, why don't we show that, because we did the cut before. Why don't we actually show, let's make him regular eyes right now. So Chocks, you want to bring those out?
Okay.
I'll sort of take that off on screen. Look, you can see how he looks
Yeah.
Franken-Crash. So we got that out. Okay, guys.
One's for you.
Okay, thank you. Look how he looks here.
Well, oh my god.
Give a bit of a spin. Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa! Poor guy. Alright, so just that just slots nicely in there. It's a nice little magnet.
I'm just trying to feel my way here.
Oops. You got it? No, I think you need to turn it a little bit more like that. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay,
That's it. Okay.
That's it. So we've now got it back into the regular eyes. And so carry on. So as you said, the eyebrows are connected to the eyes themselves. So it was actually physically impossible to remove the eyes.
Right.
Well, it would have been really difficult to remove the eyes without having it being connected to the eyebrow. So that was sort of thinking about it at the 3D stage to make sure that we could physically just remove it like that.
Yep, so the eyes with the eyebrows attached, so everything is flush fit in the eye sockets. And then, the shape, the proportion, as everyone knows, the head is very, very big, but at the same time, his body fully arches, so we took that into consideration. We've covered any areas where there's any seams, and then we had a long debate with regards to the body hair. Yeah.
Right, that's a perfect timing to talk about what you just talked about. It was, how do you take something that actually is inherently completely, how shall I say, low resolution, polygons, that's the sculpting. That's one aspect. How do you reimagine something that's low res into the high res And again, all this back and forth with the group was about that. The other thing was hair. Texture. Now we could add a lot of texture details to the hair quite easily, but his character actually is very sort of orange color. When you look at all the references, there is no texture on there. Now, this actually was a lot of debate for this as well, and this is an example where we really can't have one with lots of texture, one without lots of texture. So actually what I went with was something that when you look from afar, Chocks, it looks like it has no texture. That's what I wanted to go for. If you look at it from afar, you just see that orange of his body, of his skin, and the blue of his trousers, of his sort of jump board shorts. Those are the things that you see. What you see when you go in close, Chocks, is some very, very subtle. Can you see it, Chocks? What do you see when you go in there?
Yeah, subtle grooves and hairlines, and
you have to go in and see it, right, Chocks?
Yeah.
And that is what I wanted to do. I didn't want it to be that if you could see it from afar, lots of fine hairs on it already, then that's not what I wanted to go for. That wouldn't be right. What I wanted is that from afar, there is no hair, and then you go in closer, then you can sort of see the texture on it.
And at the same time, you don't want to go with no hair, totally plain, because there are textures on the gloves and the shorts and the boots as well.
Right. So if you look at the face itself, if you look at the mouth, there is no texture on that. It's got that skin, which makes more sense. You're not going to start.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start adding pores to the skin mouth, right?
But that's too realistic.
Yeah, right.
A bit too scary,
Right.
Yeah.
So it's trying to find that perfect balance, and of course, some of the hair, I think we could, which is what we did on, and the clothing, that's full of textures. So if we go a little bit further down, let's look at the gloves. The gloves themselves have textures on there. It's got that kind of leathery kind of effect on that. And here's something that was quite interesting, Chocks. Did you know that some of the artwork has Crash having 5 fingers?
Yeah.
And some of them has in 4. So that was actually interesting. I took the inspiration from the Insane trilogy to make sure that was definitive, and we went with 4.
It had to be 4, right? First for figures.
Well. So every time we go, hey, we should be, so absolutely, that was definitely something that we had to look into and make sure that we had this overall idea of some areas has these details, some areas don't. Mouth, the body, the feet, the thing. So if you talk to me a little bit about what you see in the trousers.
Well, before I go down the trousers, we're going to make sure that we're going to let everyone know that he does have a belly button, and we actually sculpted that in there as well.
Yeah. It's the eye for detail.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So okay, then let's go down the trousers. You can feel it. There's like very minute patterns there.
Yeah.
It's nothing too exaggerated.
Can you see it from far away?
No, not really.
And if you go
I
close,
know now, like, because I'm going to go closer.
That's exactly the principle that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Far away you can't see, close up you can.
Yeah, once you go closer, you can you go back to the ankles. There's same fur effect, and then you go down to the boots themselves. I mean, the whites are plain, but the boot textures, they're all there.
So it's a mix and match, right?
Mix and match, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's very bright and very vibrant from a distance and up close as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
and there's lines as well with the teeth as well. You can't forget that. Yeah. You can see inside the mouth from the inside. There's also the lines that goes all the way around it. Yep.
Yeah.
The sculpt lines that goes all the way around it. Definitely. Yeah. I know you guys want to do that, right? How we did it with the
Artorias.
Right.
Whoa! 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 One of the perks of the job.
Yeah. So it's a very simple character, but lots of details for this character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm really happy with how it came out. Just how do you take something quite simple, just to add all the different things, add more detail to it, and I'm really happy with how it came out, for sure. All right, let's talk a little bit about the base. This is what Alicia Bucci was talking about. Now, this is actually inspired from the sort of generic kind of places and the jungles and the ruins that
the Aztecs feel kind of
that Crash runs through, and the actual base itself matches the base from the life-size Aku Aku mask, and I did it to be part of the line where you're going to see this sort of style base. When you start seeing this, we have lots of plans for Crash Bandicoot, but you're going to start having these awesome displays next to each other. So you'll see that this base matches the Aku Aku mask base.
Wow.
So
that's gonna make Aku Aku mask really big, as in like it's like towering.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah.
So when you say you pick up Crash and you've also got, let's say, the combo pack for the Aku Aku mask, if you can remember what that has, Chocs, you have the original Aku Aku mask and you also have the golden Aku Aku mask. So you can imagine actually it will look actually pretty sweet.
On either side, yeah.
Yeah, you can have, he'll be up here, of course. I think that would look for an awesome display, and you have the same base throughout the whole line. All of a sudden, you're having an amazing display with them next to each other. I think it's going to look great. And one of these days, when we get the samples back in, we'll do another video where we have
the collection in there.
Yeah, the collection to date, we will call it. The collection to date. So, you know, really happy about having all of those all together, and I think it's going to look spotty. I think it's going to look great next to each other. And really looking forward to that. So yeah, you know, that's really where we're at in terms of the sculpt, the base, and of course, what do you see? Why don't we talk a little bit about the base?
Yeah, let's go into that, because it's probably, you can just about see on the camera. You can see Crash himself is actually stepping on kind of like the pavements.
Because if you remember from the Aku Aku mask base, they actually had bits that were kind of covering it up, so you can actually sort of see the sort of finish.
Yeah,
it
had the crate smashed, like destroyed.
Right.
Yeah. So with this one is actually on kind of slabs from the game. And in there are grooves, and obviously there are like moss going around between the grooves.
Yeah.
Some like weathered dirt marks.
Yeah.
And then the same old, basically the Aztec feel. You get the Aztec pattern going around the base. Yeah. Very simple, but it doesn't take away from the actual statue itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And absolutely, you're absolutely right. So the whole thing, the whole package really screams to me Crash. Now, I want to be clear, Crash is in so many different dimensions, different areas, different levels, and sometimes he has a more sci-fi style,
feel,
right? Yeah. This, though, is classic Crash, first going through all the jungles, all the ruins, that sort of Aztec feel, as you were saying, and there you go. That is what we wanted to have inspiration for this version, specifically of classic Crash, from, as you said, the first version. That's what Tom Baker was asking originally. Yeah. We got the inspiration from the first one, and we wanted to go OG, start at the beginning, the first in the classic Crash line. Here we are, and it's got that style to it. Sure. Whoa, 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 whoa!
All right then. Okay. So Crash right now, he has his regular eyes and his crazy tongue.
He does.
Yeah, that's a different combination.
At the beginning, it was just no tongue at the beginning, I think. Yeah.
All right then, next question from Matthew McClurry. When did you decide between the remake Crash and original Crash?
Well, what was amazing is we went after we've been chasing, I want to talk a little bit about going after the license with Activision.
Right. One
of the things that I've been doing is being in contact with Activision for maybe 4 years before we got the license, and it was always asking about, predominantly it was always asking about Crash, to be honest with you. Hey, we want to do Crash, we're going to do Crash, we're going to do Crash. And we basically, it was like, there was no opportunity. Maybe we weren't bigger at the time, I don't know what it is, I mean, we're still tiny potatoes, but whatever it was. Then, if you recall, the conversation then became not just Crash, how about Spyro? Spyro. And that, of course, came from the Temptation Thursdays poll. And again, if you aren't in the club, we run a weekly poll highlighting certain
characters or licenses. So basically, where we give you guys a chance to vote. If we were to make that character the next day, would you pre-order it? And it's not guaranteed, but it's like a fun weekly Thursday post. And basically, if there's enough fan feedback or traction, if there's like tons and tons of yes votes, we will seriously look into it.
Right.
It's kind of like who knows what happens next.
Sure.
There could be some licenses down the road where you guys really want us to make in statue form, and we're always up for that. So.
Absolutely, and of course Spyro was a good example of that. And Spyro led to us contacting them well, not contact. We were in contact, but
Yeah.
it was also Crash, also Spyro, that sort of thing, and we were so grateful for when finally, after years of trying, they went, all right, like, damn, like he.
Yeah.
So how's that for persistence? Hang around like a bad smell, and finally they'll say, oh, go all right then.
But it's been awesome. I mean, awesome relationship with those guys, and I'm very, very happy to see some of the old PlayStation classics getting remastered. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
So in terms of Matthew's question, when did you decide between the remake of Crash and the original, the remake, the Insane Trilogy and the original Crash? Well, actually, we were always proposing to do this from the very beginning. It was always to do classic Crash as the Resin. And I need to go back over my thinking, but I'm pretty sure that we got this license and then found out that they were doing a remake. I was like, is this some gift, some manna from heaven? Sometimes I just think about it, I'm in awe of how lucky we are that the timing has worked out amazingly.
Yeah, because like we were going into making our very own PVC line, which obviously you guys, if you've been following us, we've released the Breath of the Wild Link PVC as our own 100% F4F PVC. And you know, when we were working on this and then finding out they were making a master of the Crash game trilogy, Insane Trilogy, and it's like, hey, we've learned a lot from the PVC.
Yeah, sure.
And then we think, hey, let's do a remastered Crash.
Right.
Is that right?
And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah, that's right. So the point I wanted to say more is that we were going for the license for classic. Didn't know there was an insane version being made. So when that was announced, we were like, oh, that's amazing. But we had already gone down the path of doing classic with this, and that was always the original plan. And it's nice to have some diversity between the two. Who's to say that in the future we may do a insane version in Resin in the future? I think that's a great idea. I'd love to do that. But the initial one is all about the classic, and we want there to be tons and tons and tons of Crash Bandicoot merchandise that we can make. If you guys keep supporting us, we'll keep on making it. As simple as that. So the answer to that was we originally decided to go with classic Crash, and we were so blessed to be able to get and to do the Insane Trilogy version as well.
Right. Shall we go into shoutouts?
I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So guys, if you don't know what a shout out is, basically from what we were saying earlier on, the documentary posts in the club, every so often I will just leave a message in there and say first 10 people to reply to that comment will get a shout out from Alex, and here we've got 10. So all on you now.
Here we go. All right. Shout out to Miranda Sykes, bada bing, bada boom, lovely admin in the group. We have Lewis Smith in the house. How's it going? Shout out to Ashley Pace. How's it going? We got Nana Say in the house. We got Hunter Shumate, or was it Shumate? We had a bit of a debate about that. We have Chris Athi. How's it going? Alessia Bucci. How's it going there? Shout out to William Jamal Emmanuel. And we got another shout out to Braden Cole. Now this guy, I remember, he keeps updating his profile picture of every sneak peek we've been doing. Now that you've seen him, let us know in the comments on Facebook, on YouTube, if you're happy with him. Of course you are.
And which face would you choose for? Which expression would you choose for your new profile?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, there's that as well.
So we don't clash.
And last but not least, we have Brandon Evans. Shout out to you, mate. How's it going? How's that? I want to give a shout out to Jeffrey, who's actually had to edit all of that in. Whoa. Whoa, whoa. Absolutely. So guys, this is the regular version. Chocs, let's go over that again and talk a little bit about what you get for the regular version.
Yes, of course. So the regular version, you have this pose, victory pose. It comes with a base as one piece, and it also comes with a statue himself. So that's 2 pieces, and then it also comes with the tongue. So that's 3 pieces, and then you get the original eyes, 1 set, and then you get the crazy eyes, another set. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well,
all right.
If you count individual eyes, then there's 7 pieces in total.
Now, of course, you could actually mix and match the eyes themselves.
Yes.
This one is actually looking in the camera as well, but the eye height is different.
Yeah.
You don't need to change it over. We can just leave it like this version. This version is... So yes, so as you can say, we have
Mild,
AA and BB. This one is A and B here.
It's like mildly crazy.
Yeah, you have stages of craziness.
Yes. You can create your own stop animation there.
There you go.
Yeah.
So let us talk about the exclusive. So you guys know a regular version, as Shox has explained, comes with all of this sort of stuff. So anybody who's buying that can get whatever display option that they want for Crash himself.
Yep.
And we're really happy that we did. What I definitely didn't want to do, Shox, is only limit these additional eyes and tongue to the exclusive. I was very adamant that that wouldn't be the case. Okay? So the exclusive comes with a bunch of different things, Shox.
All right, so guys, so as we all know, Crash, in the game, he picks up quite a few things, all right?
He does.
Yeah. So, what does he pick up? What does he eat?
There you go.
Yeah.
In 3,
big massive hint there.
2, 1. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wumpa fruit.
Look at that, it's perfect mouth size.
Have you seen those
It's like
candy? No, it's not candy apples. They're like these things in China. It's called tanghulu, right? And what it is like it's like on this. It's like these little. It's like these candied. I don't know what kind of. Let me know if you know what apples they are, right? But there's like I think called crab apples.
Right.
They're little tiny. You stick them on a pole, and you sort of like, and they're covered in sugar.
Oh, it's
right?
like candy apples, right?
Yeah, but candy apple. Yeah, it's like a tiny candy apple.
Tiny candy.
Which is like this sort of size.
Right. Oh, I think I know what you mean. But
They're
like
called tanghalu.
But there's loads of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like kind of a brownish red color.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tanghulu. That's I don't know what it is in. Did you have in Canton in Hong Kong?
Yeah, they used to. It used to be very popular in Hong Kong.
Right.
In the, I don't know,
80s,
50s, 60s,
okay.
70s, yeah.
Well, I used to eat them all the time when I was living in Beijing, and this is the same sort of size. So, as you said, Shox, Crash comes with, as you said, the exclusive version comes with these additional Wumpa fruit on the stand, just to add a little bit of extra color to the piece itself. And if you think about it, it can nicely fit in his hand. Well, obviously it can't stay there, but I'm saying the size of it. When we looked at the inspiration for the actual size, because you don't really get too much chance to sort of see them together.
Yeah.
He's normally picking them up, he's disappeared very quickly off the screen.
Yeah.
So we wanted to sort of come into that. It basically adds a little bit of extra color to the base, to Crash itself. You have strong greens, reds, white, yellows, and more greens. You can see, Shox. What do you think about can you see how we have this kind of differences in colors?
Yeah, it's definitely like the traffic light style, the red, the amber, and the green. It is, right?
Yeah.
So.
I like that. And how about the?
That'd be cool if you make it like a strap. I don't know why.
Absolutely.
Just add a chain to it.
Now, right now, this prototype hasn't actually got any magnets in there, but there will actually all be some magnets just to put it in the position.
On the base.
Yeah. And did you see the leaves and the stalk, Shox?
Yeah, the leaves and stalk, all textured, sculpted.
It's not really textured. It's got like some lines and added details.
Yeah, sculpted.
Yeah, sculpted, but it's not textured. I mean, it's got sculpt lines.
Yeah, sculpt lines, yeah. So there you go. They are definitely different. They're not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fine. Yeah. So they go. Right now, there will be a position that's going to be something similar to that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So you get a chance to display him with this if you have the exclusive version, Shox. So yeah, definitely wanted to include that. We can pop these ones off right now. Yeah. Which, and to continue, why don't we continue with completely crazy eyes? So I believe this one, if we move this over here, semi-normal eyes. Take this one off here. Alright. It's weird like that. That's cool. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Did I choose the right one?
This one.
Is it that one?
I think so. Yeah.
Let me check. Put on the wrong one. No, it's not that one. It's this one.
Yeah. Don't worry, guys. These should be. These will be.
I'm confused.
These will be numbered.
It's this one. They are already numbered. You can see. Oh no, it's just handwritten on there. There you go. Crazy. So there you go, Chocks. That is the exclusive version. Why don't we talk a little bit about the size first?
Yeah.
Okay? Well, just a bit of a pause here.
Okay.
Talk about the size. All right, let's quickly do the
Can test.
Come on, guys. You didn't think that was just the exclusive? Come on, guys. Absolutely, there is some more to it. They're like, what? That's it? No, we always want to throw a little bit more when we can.
Okay.
Chocks.
Right, guys. I know you guys.
You know what?
I know you guys always want more.
Always want more. In 3, 2, 1.
What could this be?
So this is actually just a mock-up right now, okay? And those that, if you see this crash face and this crash face here, it's going to be done in a gloss UV. So this is just a mock-up right now. So otherwise it'll be a bit more shiny when we did that. And of course on the back we have the logo, and this will be in some gold foil. I'm not sure exactly what it will be in a foil. I'm not 100% sure what foil it will be, but it will be done like that. I'll just get it on the screen. The nice logo, F4F logo, Activision, Legal Lines. But there is more than that, Chocks, because in 3, 2, 1. Check that out. That is a beautiful backdrop to go behind your crash. Let's get that in the middle.
Yeah, just to make sure.
So that's
Right, that looks right. Yeah, that's that.
yeah. So you can open it up how you want to do it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
this is the angle. Angle like so.
yeah.
Not covering. Let's have it like that for now, yeah?
Yeah, how about that for now? So it really leads to a more complete crash collection. It's more about an enhancement.
Yeah.
Now obviously you don't need to have this.
Yeah.
The regular version doesn't come with this, but you don't need to have this, right? But it's just an enhancement, Chocks.
Yeah.
If you want to have your display look a little bit more Bandicoot-y, it just sort of helps enhance it just a little bit more. Now, Chocks, do you want to talk a little bit about the artwork itself? What do you sort of see about
Well, yeah,
that?
sure. I mean, the artwork is straight from the game. So basically, one of the levels, which the Aztec levels, and it kind of matches with the base as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly. So it doesn't make sense to have a sci-fi base with this sort of background, right?
I mean, the reason why we came up with this is obviously, if we inspired from the another Activision property, Spyro the Dragon.
Yeah, we did something very similar to Spyro the Dragon.
If you're into Spyro the Dragon as well, make sure you check out our website and our other YouTube videos that we've made for Spyro the Dragon.
Yeah.
And basically, if you look at the exclusive version on that also comes with a backdrop, which is the front cover of the PlayStation 1 game, because the Spyro Dragon pose is based on that.
Yeah.
And so back with Crash here, we thought, hey, let's run with that same idea, because we got a lot of positive feedback from the club members that they love the backdrop, and hey, it's a little something special. And we thought, might as well do it with this one. Absolutely. Yeah.
And as you said, going a bit more about the artwork itself, it's that original Insanity Beach. You're on it's the first level. You've washed up on the shore.
Yeah.
You start running through the jungle, and you see all of these sort of broken down totem poles. You see this beautiful lush forest. Basically, you see this background, and of course, what you don't see on there, Chocks, is Crash himself. You don't see Crash on there at all because he's obviously here.
I'll tell you what.
What's that,
You
Chocks?
can even put. I know with the Crash PVC, it comes with a backdrop within the packaging.
Yeah.
You can even use that Crash PVC with this one.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
We can do some comparisons later on, but you can see.
Here we have one here prepared.
So here you have with the size comparison. If you have a Crash Bandicoot PVC from the Insane trilogy, you can actually sort of see the size comparison.
So this one, sorry, not this side. On Alex's side, you can see there's the PVC version from the Insane trilogy. See, like on the camera, if you look from a distance, you can't really see the texture. So this is what we're saying about how it looks really plain and vibrant and just very simple designs.
Yeah.
But from where we are, obviously you can see the detail, but you can imagine the size of that PVC in front of this backdrop, and it looks really sweet as well.
We'll bring them out a little bit later on as well when we do some more comparison shots.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, this is the backdrop for the exclusive version. In addition to the Wumpa Fruit, I think it makes for a nice enhancement.
Yeah.
And I really like how it's come out. I love how we conceptualized it and how it's been executed. It's been. I think it looks really great. I think it's gonna please a lot of Crash Bandicoot fans, and it's gonna really look forward to seeing how that looks. So yeah, Chocks, that's pretty much it. Wanted to now go into some of the measurements. You think the Crash is going to be perfect for your display, and you want to have
the exclusive version with the backdrop and the couple of
you have the measurements for this, so I'm going to do
that later.
Yeah, now is finally time to do the can test. All right, here we go. So, boom, we have 1 can, 2 cans, 3 cans.
Hold on. I think there's something else. I'm sure there's something else.
Whoa?
Yeah. There's something else.
Whoa?
That can't be it.
Whoa?
I got a question.
Go on. What's that?
Well, got a question. Crash, what else does he do in the game?
Well, he does a lot of running. He's got Wumpa Fruit.
There's got to be something else in the game he does. Right? Something else. It can't be a boring level.
That's true.
Yeah, he's good at crashing parties. We all know that.
He's also good at crashing things, I believe. What does he crash? Crazy Boo!
Yes, you answered my question.
There you go. Now I remember. Absolutely. We have here a question mark crate. Now, of course, what happens when you hit a question mark crate? What are they exactly?
What are the crates? What are question crates? Question crates?
Well,
what do they usually do? What? I mean,
you get Wumpa Fruit.
Yeah. How many?
A lot. A lot more than you normally do.
I thought you were going to give me a specific number.
Well,
a lot.
Let us know in the comments and the questions in the comments.
Actually, that's quite interesting. How many Wumpa Fruits can fit in a crate?
And also a question mark crate.
Yes.
How many in the Wumpa Fruit crate? How many in the question mark version?
Yeah.
But that's for another conversation.
That's right.
Let us know in the comments. But but I also know
what else is
if you're lucky, every now and then you'll get an Aku Aku mask every now and then. But what you also definitely get is a boom extra life if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, you get yourself an extra life. Now what we have here, guys, is what is this, Jocks? This is the first time we've ever done anything like this, so we really wanted to test this out and see how it goes. I think it really enhances the collection, right?
To that, it's to scale.
It's to scale. That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to do. But of course, Jocks, it would be a bit tiring. As much as I love, Crash Bandicoot.
There's only so much I can
hold it for, and ask
for an hour.
Ask your friends to hold it for you, just so you can appreciate display. That we wanted to actually give you a little something extra, of course.
Right.
And here we go, guys. Boom!
Look at that. Lovely stand. So basically, it's a stand. You can see these little pegs, right?
Here's one I've already done.
And then it's very simple to set up. It's just 2 pieces right now. So we have the front of the base, which matches perfectly with this base and the actual resin base.
Yeah.
And then the simple stuff, boom, slotted down. Alex has already done that. Look at that. No instructions needed.
Not that we ever give out instructions normally. All right, so let's put them side by side. Now you can have an idea of what that looks like. Of course, you can get an idea. Of course, these are acrylic pieces. Now these extras are all about enhancing a collection, right? So and of course the back is just as simple as that, right?
Any way you want to do with it. You can have it next to the classic Crash here.
Let's say you also have
classic Crash here, so it looks like straight from the game.
Yeah, sure. Let's say you have a life-size Aku Aku mask. You can put that. It's all about enhancing a collection of of Crash fans, right? And of course, if you do want to, Chocks, you can of course wanted to put it alongside your
backdrop.
Bring that up
Right,
against,
look at that.
and that nicely holds it in place. Is it right on your side? Yeah, just
it's
about.
perfect,
Yeah,
looks sweet.
it looks really sweet. So that really is the exclusive version.
That really is the exclusive.
And hopefully you like what you see. It's been an absolute pleasure working on that.
So this comes with 2 acrylic stands with the craze. I mean, this is awesome. If you don't, I mean, I can appreciate some collectors may not have enough space. You can actually use this, take it to work, I'll put it somewhere on your desk. And then let's say you received a lovely letter from First for Figures or Activision, you can use it as a letter stand like so, yeah?
Because you get all your letters now, right?
Yeah. All your bills and your love letters and, awesome gift.
Of course, you can put all the unopened letters on the question mark one because you don't know what's in it.
That's right, yes.
And the one,
I love it. It's great. It's like multi-functional accessory.
right, and it's a little bit more about the fact these crates actually are. Yes, of course, they're just a 2D image, but we made it sort of semi 3D by having a depth behind it that I can see from the side. Just want to make sure you guys can see that to give it a kind of feeling that it's sort of a little bit 3D.
Yeah.
As I said, it's a nice little enhancement. We'd love to hear your feedback on this. This is the first time we've done something like that. We really, I think it's come out really, really nicely. And one of the debates that we had was, were we going to print on the front or on the back? And actually, ultimately, we decided to go for printing it on the front because it gives a matte finish to it. And that's what we wanted. Having a matte finish made more sense because it looks very, very similar to the actual, the piece itself. So of course, you could always, do them like that. Display it how you like. And as you said, I love the idea of putting letters on there.
Definitely putting this next to my laptop on my desk. So and
it's a substantial size, guys. It really is. And we wanted to make sure. Now this is actually it's very slightly too tall. We might slightly reduce it because this should be the same height as this, and maybe you can't see from this angle.
Yes, so
it's very, very slightly oversized, but
so
we'll just
it's tweaking. There's some tweaking stuff. It's work in progress, but
and one of the things is, for example, this one is slightly cut off the ear. We'll sort that out.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, like I said, size right now currently is roughly like an A5 notebook. So you can imagine the size of that. If you play the original game, the crates tend to be much bigger than the remastered version. So these crates kind of go in very nicely in scale because the crates normally go to his chest area in the game. So this is looking very good now. Yeah,
absolutely. Right, Chocks, can we now do the can test?
Can we start doing the can test? Yes.
All right, if we actually
how many can?
I was going to do that in front of the
itself?
Yeah. So these are just a little bit over 2.
And if you have a PVC crash, let's bring one out and put one next to the because we did it for crash. Let's put it next to how big is in front of the.
If you as part of your crash display.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. So if we go and do the can test, this is actually just a little bit, very, very slightly over 2. Very, very, very slightly over 2.
Yeah.
And what I will say about that is, guys, that it is, these are 330 ml cans, so American family is usually more used to a 355, I believe. So it's very slightly different from that. So it's just a little bit over 2. If we go and actually do Crash himself.
Interesting.
Boom! 3 and a bit. Now you have to also understand that Crash is bending over.
Yeah. So
if he was, and he's bending at his knees. If he was standing straight, completely straight, I would definitely say 4 cans, no problem, including the base, of course. So because he's leaning over, he's a little bit smaller.
Punching and crouching.
Punching, yeah. Now you've got some sizes for me, Chocks.
Yes. Right. Let me open my letter that I just took from my new favourite stand.
There you go.
Look at that. It was like question time. We should have this in our weekly Q&A.
Spoiler alert.
Right. Tape measure. There we go. Right, let's start with the plaques because I got these down already. So the plaques, I've got it around about 9.5 inches for the height, so that's 23 centimeters.
Sorry about that.
The width of the plaque, right? So from the bottom of the base going across, I got that around 7.5 inches. So that's 19.5 centimeters. And the depth, and obviously from the side like so, the depth here, back to front, I have that at 3.5 inches, which is 9 cm.
Yep.
Okay, so for the backdrop, when it's closed, when the flap's closed, I have that at 16.5 inches height-wise.
Yep.
So that's 42 centimeters. For the width, I have that at 14.5 inches. 14.5 inches. That's 37 centimeters. And when it's fully opened, obviously the height's going to be the same at 16.5 inches. Fully open, the width is 29.5 inches all the way from that side to that side. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, this side. So 29.5 inches, which is 75 centimeters.
That's big.
That's right.
So slightly remove this just because it's not included.
Right.
I don't want to confuse that.
All right. Okay, so let me put that back on there.
Okay. And then now you're doing Crash
I'm
himself?
doing Crash himself.
So maybe I'll
just
just
move
this
that to one side,
yeah.
yeah. So for the height for Crash Resin, I have that 16 inches tall, so it's 41 centimeters. The width, obviously you got to consider hands sticking slightly out from the base. That's around about 13 inches at 33 centimeters. And the depth, which is from the front of the base to the back of the base, around about 11 inches. So that's 28 centimeters.
Now, of course, if you put your backdrop directly behind it, you do need to factor that in as well.
You can give the illusion of your Crash looking big and small by taking the backdrop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right,
as well.
For sure.
For the weight, I have that at 4.38 kg. That's the regular version, the regular weight. The exclusive is just going to have these two Wumpa fruits on top, which is only going to add about 10-20 grams.
But these themselves, they've got some hefty weight to it.
I haven't weighed these yet because we're still in the work in progress phase.
That's true. And maybe a slightly smaller weight. We talked about this. I mean, generally it's going to be like this, but we're talking maybe 5% smaller.
But they are definitely,
acrylics, and especially this sort of thickness is heavy, and it's yes, indeed. So in terms of the sizing, we got that down. Let's do a comparison shots of a few different items. Of course, one of them, as we said before, was going to be. Let's move this over to the side. Put that over there. Oh, actually, no. Let's go through. There's still some questions to go through. So let's do those first. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, questions. There you go. Right. I'm the one asking the question. So again, from Alessio Bucci, any word on Cortex and the future characters in the line?
So we are definitely working on Cortex, and there are lots of. There are definitely. That's looking great. Same sort of site. That's very, very good. So we talk about wanting to do as many pieces as people want us to keep doing. If there's more and more support, we'll keep on doing them. So in terms of future in the line, will we be doing Cortex? The answer is yes. Do we have future character planned? We do internally, but we would also like to hear what you think. What would you like to see? Would you like to see Coco? Would you like to see Tiny the Tiger? What would you like to see? Let us know in the comments on YouTube, in Facebook. Yes. We're always listening. This is a really great example of the community helping to shape a product line, and there's no reason why product suggestion, character suggestion wouldn't be something that is being shaped by the community as well. So do let us know. We're always listening.
Exactly, for the Crash Bandicoot lines basically, not just the resin. If you have the same suggestions for the PVCs or even for the replicas as well, do let us know.
Yeah.
For those two as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, cool.
All right.
And one more.
Last but not least, from Quinn Bruderer. Can we see some comparison to the spiral piece? Do the modelers use absolute scale or do they use a relative scale?
So this is a great time to actually bring in again
It's a good thing you asked Spiral because that's from Activision.
That's right.
Yes.
So this is obviously, I want to do another comparison, of course. This is the Crash PVC. Yes, we've already done this, so we didn't need to talk too much about that. This is the Crash PVC size. This is for those who had already purchased their Crash. They've seen it in the shops, they bought it. Sometimes it's hard to understand the difference between the resin and the PVC. We get that often asked in the club.
Yeah.
What's the difference between PVC? What's the difference between a resin? And one of the things is size. And here is a really good example of the size comparison. You can see it's significantly bigger. So maybe you have this in your collection already and you wanted to see how it compares with the classic Crash statue. Here you go, guys. You can sort of see how that looks right there. All right. Let us move this across, and Chocks, why don't we bring him there?
Yeah.
I'll bring
You need to move this to one
to the side. Yeah, I'll bring that over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that.
Right.
Buddies. Buddies reunite.
Buddies reunited. Now check that out,
Yes.
guys. All right, it's looking at the camera like that. There is quite a significant difference between the size. You can see that. Now, well, first of all, let's be clear. Crash is bending over.
Yeah.
And he's bending at his feet, but he's also a human-shaped bipedal character. He stands on his feet, he does not walk on all fours. So one of the things that Spyro is a dragon that walks on feet, and therefore it's more about the depth versus the height. Typically, one of the things that you can sort of consider is it's more like a square shape for Spyro.
Yeah.
Whereas Crash is more about a vertical shape, which is very much how it is for humanoid characters.
Yeah.
So, but the reality is, for sure, Crash is bigger than Spyro by quite a lot. Now, but it's inspired by the fact that we took. So when Quinn was asking, do they use absolute scale or relative scale? Well, the thing is, this is his own line, therefore it should have characters that are in scale in its own line, right?
Yeah.
But we also know that they're both being Activision licenses, and actually there's a lot of people crossover between love of Spyro and Crash that maybe people will buy both and have both in their collection. So we wanted to make sure that they also look great together. Now, if you look at the sort of one time that you see Crash and Spyro together, Chocks, you've got to look at the Skylanders series, where you actually see a guest appearance of Crash in that series, and in there you will see that Crash is actually bigger than Spyro, and as you see here, he is. Now actually, if you look, Crash is actually at a lower level than Spyro, but overall, if you look at the overall size, if you include the horns, they're quite similar. But if you look at the physical size of them all, definitely Crash looks bigger, as he should do, compared to Spyro.
The head, body, the height.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you have a better idea now of how, if you've got Spyro in your collection, how Crash is going to look next side out. What do you think, Chocks?
No, that's right. It's exactly how I imagine and for these two characters.
Yeah, we had quite a long conversation when we were doing 3D about what the scaling should be between the two. So for sure, better idea of his size. His wing is going behind that. Give it a bit of a turn, just so you can have a better idea. So yeah, guys, that is the collection together. Spyro and Crash, of course, items sold separately.
Can't forget that. Backdrop as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of different parts and components that go into this Crash package, and hopefully you guys like what you've seen. I really like how these have come out in particular, because we can sort of conceptualize this and say, hey, you know, how can we enhance this and to sort of fit all of that together? And I think it's come out really, really well. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know in the comments. Let us know what other characters you want to see in the Crash Bandicoot line. Let us know in the club. Let us know on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook,
Let us know
YouTube,
all that sort of good stuff.
as always.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, guys. There's one last spin. Anything to add before we go, Chocks?
Well, there's more?
No, I'm saying it's anything. I'm just checking with you.
I'm fine. I'm
All
happy.
right, that's another one wrapped
Awesome.
up. All right, nice one.
Nice one.
I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Chuckles.
F4F is love.
F4F is
And
life.
we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Laters.